Okay. And we should be ready to go here in at least a couple of minutes. If you're watching the replay, you can go ahead and slide forward just a little bit and get into the meat and taters for today's call. I don't know why that's such a funny word to me, but taters. Taters has always just been a funny word. And if you're not from the South, I feel like you like probably hardly ever hear that word, but like when you live in the South in the US, like the Southeast area, it's like much more common of a word than you would like want it to be. What's up, Freddie? Yeah, I think you learned your lesson now. Gotta say hey, man. Got like I don't know. I just like to say hey to people. It's I don't know what is it like Indian cultures. It's very different. Like not even just Indian, but there are just several cultures. Russian culture, for example, um, there's several different cultures where you have to take time to just chit chat and basically talk about nothing. And yeah, it's not that I need a ton of chit chat beforehand because I like to get straight to business, but at least a hello. I don't know. I was thinking about it the other day because somebody held the door open for me, and it just got me thinking. Like, I think about these things, like, I don't know, my mind is always running and thinking about something. But, like, I got to thinking about how, they say that chivalry in general is just dead and people don't hold the door open for other people. And I even have a buddy who moved down from New York to South Carolina. And he was just telling me how nice people are. He's like, people say yes, sir, and no, sir, and yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And they still hold doors open for people down here where he's from. He's from, I think, the Bronx or Brooklyn, something like that. I don't even know. That might be the same place. No, it's not the same place. It's, I'm just kidding. But he said that people there they're so fast paced. Nobody holds the door for anybody. They just will push in the door and keep going. There, like everybody here, like looks behind them to make sure. I don't know. It's just those little things about building a relationship with people that I think are still needed that kind of get looked over nowadays. But anyways, getting off track. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about chivalry and holding the door open and saying yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and yes, sir, no, sir, things like that? Do you guys still do that on a day-to-day basis? And this is actually kind of a good lesson because it does make a difference when, especially if you're in an area where that's not common. If you go into a business meeting and you start saying, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, even if they tell you, because a lot of the time, trust me, when I went into my first corporate environment, I was saying that to people and they're like, I'm not your mom, I'm not your dad, quit saying yes sir and no sir and yes ma'am. Like it was just habit. It was the way I was. But if they tell you not to, they still always would look at me and be like, it's still nice that you did that. It just shows that you are respectful to them. So I'm just curious, do you guys still practice that on a day-to-day basis? And just in general, I mean, I think people these days are so wrapped up in themselves that they forget that they're not the only one on this freaking earth who matters. So I don't know. I see no need for chivalry from Ricardo Sanchez. I don't know. I think it, and to each his own. I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna judge you either way. I just think that, me personally, I think it is kind of what adds to the humanity of people. It's what makes us human, is that we don't just look out for ourselves, but we try to take care of each other. We want what's best for everybody. So seriously, what do you guys think? And do you guys take this into your business meetings? Because you should be. Do you approach people as respectfully as possible? Do you respect your elders and intentionally do that? I don't know. For me, it was just built in as a habit as a child because, if I walked into my grandmother's house or something and they were like, Jordan, would you like a glass of tea? And I'd be like, yeah. My dad would be like, yeah. Dude, seriously, yeah. You mean yes, ma'am? And he'd look at me with this stern face, just angry as could be. And I'd be like, yes, ma'am. Straighten up real quick. I don't know. That's just how I was raised. I was raised very old school. And I appreciate a lot about it because I think that too many people in our generation, and I'm not trying to talk badly about anybody's parents, but I want you guys' feedback on this. Do you think that, parenting is different in the sense that they aren't as strict on children nowadays as they were? And I'm not saying we're going back to 1960s beat your child with a baseball bat type stuff if they didn't listen. But I believe strongly in having that discipline in your life, because I think that the discipline when you're growing up helps you later on in life. A lot of people ask, well, how are you able to work so hard and so long, and why do how do you keep up? And it's just because I think there's a certain level of discipline that you reach in your life where you just know what you need to do to get to where you want to be. And I feel like it lacks a lot in our generation. I'm going to go through and say hey really quick, but you guys leave your thoughts on that subject right below here. I want to know what you guys think about chivalry in general, and just taking that mentality into the business world. Do you think it's beneficial or not? Freddie, I said hey to you. Angel, what's going on? Adslam, what's going on? Qin, Jason, Brian, what's up? Tomatoes patatas, is that what that is, or tomatoes patatas? What's good, Jordan? From Ezekiel. Ryan, what's up? Milan from Southeast Asia. What's up? What part of Southeast Asia? Did this just start? Yep, we just started. Jeffrey Patterson, what's up? Be polite. I work in the service industry and kindness goes a long way. Yep, Jeffrey, you're in an industry where it's needed. If you're in the service industry, you have to be polite. Your job is to be polite. Well, part of your job is to be polite. But yeah, you're trying to make people feel good. Like, that's what I don't understand about servers, is when you get a server and they just have the shittiest attitude. Like, yes, okay, they could be having a bad day, but say you go to a place regularly and the person just has a crap attitude every time you see them. It's like, do you not understand you're doing the exact opposite of what you should be doing to get a tip? Like, and then you have servers who complain about, I don't know, I used to manage a restaurant, and so I know a lot about this industry, but servers will come in and complain about not getting tips, but then when you look at them doing their job, it's just like, I know why you don't get tips. Like, it's directly related to your tip. Your attitude and your work ethic is directly related to your tip. If people see you working harder and with a smile on your face, your tip just went up probably 10% automatically, and you don't even know it, unless it's just a cheap ass person, which unfortunately that does exist. Anyways, getting past that. I still do it. It's a form of courtesy, right? Jordan just judged me, guys. Ricardo, I didn't judge you. Look, man, seriously, it's neither here nor there, because I don't judge people based on that, but I look at things from a broader perspective. Like, I like to look at just society in general and how it's morphed. Like, even from when I was a child to where we're at now, it's morphed completely. And it's just interesting. I psychoanalyze that kind of crap all the time. It's nothing to judge you. I'm just curious. Allows you to stand out as well. Yes, it means you were raised right. Some people, and that's, dude, if you're in the South, that's just what it is. If you're in the South, that's just being raised right. That's what we call it. So yeah, I totally get that. Of course, you have to show respect. Goddamn millennials. Oh, Ricardo. Jose, what is up, buddy? Long time no see. How you been? Yes, being proper, respectful, and friendly is very appropriate in the world today. I don't respect people as much if they are self-centered. Respecting elders is a must because they paved the way for us. Yeah, and see, that's another good point. Like, they got us to where we are today. Like, everyone who came before us paved the way for where we are today. So you almost have to show some form of respect to everybody, and you should to everybody. But I'm saying to elders specifically, you should show a little bit more respect, because they did get, and not all of them are great, but there are a lot of great people out there. So 100%, I think there's a big change in the parenting styles. Parents are too busy most of the time. Cambodia working here as a teacher. Gotcha. Yeah, and yep, parents are very busy, and I totally get that. The roles in what is required to get by day to day has shifted. You know, it used to just be the man was bringing enough money home to support the family, at least in the U.S., right? And then it shifted to where women not only wanted equality, but just the cost of living went up and necessity went up. People wanted more things, so it required both people having full-time jobs. Or also the fact that people wanted to work less, meaning if we had two people working, we're going to generate more income, and each person has to work less, right, to make more money. So yeah, the whole shift has completely changed towards, I don't know, just where we're almost kind of secluding ourselves and making ourselves less we have less of an ability to connect with other people, which is, it's so weird. That's what social media is for. That's what online, everything with the internet was to bring everyone around the world together. Yet at the same time, it isolates us from other people and from the things that make us human. I don't know. It's just interesting to look at. And this is stuff that you need to, as a marketer, seriously, that's why I wanted to continue this conversation, because it's stuff you guys need to look at as marketers and be able to understand and start to psychoanalyze these things yourself. I do it not only about that, I do it about everything, man. And I know a lot of you are the same way because you're entrepreneurs, but your brain is constantly running, right? So instead of, letting it run on, all of the negative things, because a lot of people like to sit there and think of negative things, but just think of things in general and try to see how it can apply to your work. And when I say in general, I mean things related to marketing and business. Try to figure out how those things can relate and how you can use it to your advantage to create a new campaign or come up with a really cool new idea. Those kinds of things like mind jogging or mood boarding, things like that. It's really good for creating campaigns, creating new content, coming up with viral ideas, if that's what you want to call it. But cool. I like that little talk, guys. That was a good little talk. I hope you guys got something out of that. Yes, I think that the world needs a bit of a shift too. Yes, I got a DM about this with a push notification, so it's working. Push notifications. Gotta love them. What is this sober stream? Aaron Ashlock. Not sure what you're talking about, buddy. What do you mean? Juliana and Robert Deacon. I don't know which one is on here, or maybe both of you are watching, but what's up? And Jorge, hello. So guys, here's what we're going to do now that we got all the conversation out of the way. Feel free to put any of your marketing related questions or your agency related questions out there. And until we get there, I was running a MAP mentorship lesson this week, and I had someone ask if, I could put it in the course, which we did. But since he thought it was so valuable and the whole group really got a good bit of information out of it, I figured we'd talk about this one little part, which, if you guys don't know, the mentorship program is something that we run every single week on Wednesday at 3 p.m. And even if you can't make the lives, the cool thing is you still get... I don't write this way. This is weird. I got to shift. Hang on. I cannot do that. I was like, wait a second. All right. So I'm going to teach a concept right here about ad management and budgeting. And I want to show why a lot of people don't get this right. I don't know if I have enough room here. I think I do. Yeah, I got enough room. Make sure that... All right, there we go. No glare. So, about sales and no reply. I emailed you guys about the sales and no reply. Backs of billions. Yeah, I remember that email. I've already had it sent over to one of my managers, so don't worry. He's going to be setting a meeting with you. It's in the works, guys. You got to be patient. We get a lot of requests from a lot of you guys on a daily basis. You got to be patient with us. We're still only a small team. We're growing very quickly. We have a lot of contractors, but internally we still only have 4 people. So, it's a slow, like, salaries ain't cheap, I'll tell you that much. People cost a lot of money, especially good talent. All right. So let's show this example really quick. I want to show why people don't get ad budgets right a lot of the time, okay? And we're going to start off with the breakdown of the 2 examples I got. I had 2 students inside of the mentorship program, which again, it's $10 a month, and you get 4 live trainings a month, which is like 56 trainings every year for only $120 if you were to stay every single month. 56 live trainings. And you get all the replays, you get the documents if we upload any, tools, all of that. So just saying, check it out. SerialEntrepreneur.academy. Go under courses, under digital marketing courses. All right, so the biggest issue we saw was people had $500 budgets. That's what they kept telling me. Each person said $500 to $300, or $300 to $500. and the average was $500. Like, everybody kept saying $500. And I was like, all right, guys. So here's our issue with $500 ad budgets. Number one, when a client says all they have is $500, they're probably only thinking about 1 month. And they're hoping at that point that they're going to be able to get a return on their investment of like $1,500 or $5,000 and be able to up the budget. So the first thing I want to mention to you guys is setting the expectation properly. Ad budgets, though they can show results instantly, usually take time to build because there's testing periods, right? You're not just going into a fully optimized campaign. You have to test the copy, the creative, the audiences, the budgets, even the ad objectives. You're testing all of these different metrics. So you shouldn't expect a full return on investment plus some in the first month. You're running testing a lot in the first month. So with $500, the biggest issue is they're not expecting to spend more than that $500 before they already make their money back. So set the expectation properly there. 2 to 3 months, because it's going to take some testing. Second month, you'll see better results. Third month, we'll probably either break even or be well over that objective. And then by 4, 5, and 6, we're really getting the campaign rolling. We've tested our content. And if you're and that's why a lot of the time people say to niche up, like to pick a niche, because once you do it with one business, pretty much the same ad styles will work for other businesses in other areas, right? You wouldn't want to do it with the same businesses in the same areas, but if they're in completely different areas and they only service those markets, then you can run those same campaigns for everyone in that niche, and it should work, right? You might have to make small tweaks, but once you find out a system that works, then you're rolling with good ads, right? But again, you do have to do some testing if it's something new for you. Now, $500 in 1 month even, here's the other issue. If this is 1 month and we're going to run $500, that's not enough money. All right. So what are the 3 stages of the sales cycle? If we look at the most condensed version, I want you guys to answer this question in the comments. What are the 3 steps of the sales cycle? And don't worry, we're going to get into you guys' questions. But I think you guys are really going to benefit from this training. So what are the 3 steps in the sales cycle? I need you guys to list that out down in the comments because I want to make sure you guys know your shit. Jose, yes, partner with someone who does the sales side, but no, you should probably only pay them a commission. Unless they run that whole side of the business, then yeah, but if all they're doing is sales and you're giving them all of the stuff that they need to sell, then that's just a salesman. Honestly, you should hire them on as an account manager, and the account manager not only goes out and does sales, but they also come back and they feed all the information to everyone on the fulfillment team. That's how the bigger agencies do it. They have an account manager. That person sells, and once they sell the package that they're trying to sell, so they put it together back at the office with the team, they go over it together and say, okay, this is what we're probably going to try and pitch them. Then the person goes out, sells the pitch. Once they land the deal, they come back, they give all the information to the team, they start fulfilling. That person just manages the relationship between the customer and the rest of the team. When they want changes done or revisions, they tell that one person goes and tells the rest of the team. That's how I would try to do it if I were you, build that sort of team. You pay out a base salary and commission if you can. If you really can, then you'll want to find someone who can maybe do it full-time on commission, because if they can sell and they have the client list and the ability, then let them go. But that's what I would recommend there. If you have to partner, though, then they better be managing like all of the sales aspects. Okay, so I don't see any answers from anybody on this. So guys, it's awareness, sales cycle, awareness, and I know that as soon as I say awareness, you guys are going to know the last ones. Consideration and conversion. Okay, so these are also known as cold audiences or cold traffic, warm traffic, and then you got your hot traffic. All right, so the reason why $500 doesn't is because Simon said, oh, I was going to say awareness, damn. So there's three parts though, but awareness, yes, would be the first one. Now the reason why $500 doesn't work is because we have to break this budget down based on the different stages of the sales funnel or of the sales cycle. And why is that? Well, because if we're running cold traffic ads, that's great. But if you guys have paid attention to what I've said at all, then you actually have to understand that you don't just run one ad and get sales from that, right? You're not going to run one ad. It's a really cool thing unless you're just running a really big discount ad or a promotional ad. And you can't run a business only on promotions. I mean, there are businesses who do it, like Ross, for example. That's a discount store, right? But most businesses aren't discount stores, so we're not going to look at it like that. So if you're not running a constant sale, then you can't just run sale ads and expect to drive traffic. And even then, if people know that you always run sales on all of your products, that loses the luster. It loses the luster of that sale, or the sale loses luster. It's luster. Why can I not talk right now? Okay. So that being said, we have to remarket to people. That's the point I'm trying to make. We have to remarket to them. So, and again, guys, if you haven't heard me say this before, Dr. Jeffrey Lant has something called the Rule of 7. Let me see where I have some space. The Rule of 7. All right, and learn this rule. The Rule of 7 states that you have to touch base with someone a minimum of 7 times in a period of 18 months for them to be able to recall your brand. Not for them to buy, not even for them to become a lead, but for them to remember who you are. Okay, so what does that mean? Top of mind awareness is everything in marketing, right? If a person doesn't think of your business when they're trying to consider whether they should buy a product or service, then you're never going to be the one who gets, the majority of the leads and sales in that specific industry. So the Rule of 7 basically shows you that if I'm not touching base with them or showing an ad to them or delivering some kind of content to them a minimum of 7 times in 18 months, when it comes time for them to start researching that product or service again or go and buy something, they're not going to search my brand and put me in the running for that product or service to be bought unless they somehow come across me, right? So the Rule of 7, very, very important, guys. Now, again, most businesses, they try to spend $500, and you guys are even pitching this to businesses, $500, and I don't understand why. So here's how this works, right? Let's say we put $325 into cold traffic. I'm going to move this Rule of 7 now because we covered that. All right, $325 is going to go into the awareness section. The consideration section, what do we have left? $175. So we'll put I don't know, about 120. What would that leave us left with? $55? Yeah, we'd probably do about $120 here. And then $55 right here. All right. So that brings us up, right? Yeah. All right. So we're good there. Now, the issue is, if we're running ads, this is over a 30-day period. Oh, I know why. Yeah. For numbers' sake, let's do it like this. I did this the other day. I was like, my numbers are not going to work out easy. All right. 300. We're going to do 225 and no, I'm not even doing math right. I'm sorry, guys. Wow, Jordan. Okay, we have $200 left, so 125 and then 75, and my numbers still aren't going to come out easy. But that's okay. It's a lot easier to look at. This, if I divide this by 30, that means I have $10 per day to spend on cold traffic. If I do 125 divided by 30, I believe it was like $4.67 per day. And then 75 divided by 30 is like 3.7 or something like that. All right, so $3.70 per day. All right, so here's the issue with that. If I'm running ads $10 per day at the cold traffic level, I'm probably only going to be able to run one campaign. And that campaign is going to have to go the entire month, so that way I can record enough data to know what kind of adjustments I can make. Then I'm going into the consideration phase, and notice the trend in the budget. It goes from high to lower, right? Because you should spend more on cold traffic than you should on consideration traffic or warm traffic than you should on conversion traffic or hot traffic, right? It's going to cost you less at the hot traffic level because they already know you exist. Not to mention the cost per lead at that level is just lower anyways. The actual cost per lead is higher if you run the wrong ad objectives. I should mention that. If you're running conversion objective ads all of the time to all of your hot traffic, you're wasting money. But anyways, and then your warm traffic is going to have a little bit higher of a budget because these are people who know your brand a little more because they've already been introduced in this stage of your ad campaign right up here, right? So they don't need as much, and you're doing like review ads, authority ads, showing why your product is great, how to use the product or service, what makes your product or service better than the competitor, stuff like that, right? So that's what you're sending at this level. But the issue is we don't have enough money to run any tests, not to mention we're not spending enough on a day-to-day basis. On a day-to-day basis, we're only spending, what is this, like $16 per day? No, $17, $18 per day, a little over $18 per day. We're not even spending $25, $50, at least $30 per day is what I recommend. That's like $900 in your ad budget. You know, usually when I'm telling people, like the minimum I would ever tell one of my students to take would be like $750. And that needs to be for a company that's already selling well online. They already have a structure in place. They already have a good Facebook page, because otherwise they're going to struggle. If they don't have a Facebook page at all, they're not posting content, they don't have any engagement organically at all whatsoever, they're going to struggle with $750, right? The minimum that I recommend spending on an ad platform per month is $1,000. So if you're going to do Facebook and Instagram, each platform needs at least $1,000, so that way you have enough room to run multiple campaigns, because this is just like right here, this is pretty much from here down is what we call an evergreen campaign, meaning you can set that up and run it, and you can show customer reviews and testimonials, you can show authority ads, you can do things like give one-off offers to get people who are your hottest traffic to buy, like a discount or a promotion or a one-time offer, a BOGO offer, something like that, right? This is like an evergreen campaign. You don't have to change it much. You can as your campaign builds and as you start to make money with your campaign. But in the beginning, you don't really need to change the creative and the copy too much if it's working, right? But up here, this is where you want to be able to play around. Okay, the awareness stage is the hardest stage, because this is where you're trying to spend the most amount of money to reach everyone in your market, to drive them in based on their intent, based on different impulses, right? So if you're offering a special sale or a one-time only sale, or it's a product they can only get through you because you're the only one who makes it, right? Something like that is where you're able to utilize that budget to draw in the different forms of people who have different needs or intents with that product or service. Right? So for an example, if we had a criminal defense attorney, there's several things that you could need a criminal defense attorney for. Well, how do you attract the right people, right? And that's not even how do you attract the right people. With a criminal attorney, I almost went off base there. With a criminal attorney, one of the biggest objectives for a criminal attorney is to be known in their area, to have the most brand awareness in their area. Why? Because it's hard to use digital marketing, at least on social. Like with paid search, it's easy because you're typing based on keywords. So people are doing a search right then, right? It's when they need it, versus social marketing, which is disruptive, right? You're coming in front of them. So, and they don't necessarily need your service. So using a digital budget other than PPC, we have to make sure that we're basically focusing on brand awareness. We're basically just running ads to people, every 3 months, every 4 months, every 6 months, something like that. They'll see an ad from us, just so that way we're staying in their ear about us being in the market. Or we'll create a funny video and we'll make sure that we're the ones who are getting recognition for that video. Maybe you partner with an influencer and you run that occasionally, right? Or you partner with influencers occasionally just to do something fun. So that way people in your area know who you are, right? So it's looking at each business differently, but also understanding that $500 just really isn't enough. The other thing you have to consider about this is, where are you making your money? Well, we recommend doing a flat rate on anything under $3,000. at least a flat rate of $500 up to about $750 or $1,000, even if you have a good ad manager. But a flat rate of anywhere from $500 to $1,000 for anything under a $3,000 ad spend. And again, $1,000 is a steep management fee for only a $3,000 ad spend, so I wouldn't even go that high. But if we're spending $500 on ads here and they have to spend at least $500 on our management fee, they're spending $1,000 on ads, or at least that's the way that business owner is going to see it. So you need to be able to generate a decent amount of money to make their money back for them, okay? So just understand, $500, it really isn't a lot of money. And I hope you guys got a good little lesson out of that. But we went over it in the mentorship program this week, and a lot of people were like, holy crap, now it makes sense why these are too low of ad budgets and why I shouldn't be pitching it. Because it's hard to work with. You don't have the flexibility. Trust me, I'm telling you this because I've tried it. I've tried it myself. I've lost a client because of it. And this was when I very first started. And they weren't mad because I was telling them, look, I haven't ever had to take someone else's budget and manage it directly myself. Like, I had a team of people who we were all doing it together when I first started out in the business. So when I really got into this and managing it all myself, boy, not to mention learning I had to outsource a lot of the copy and creative and learning those processes, combining that with ads. But yeah, I've definitely lost a client from not doing well with the ad budget, and it was primarily because we did not have enough money to spend. I wanted to fluctuate the types of campaigns we were going to run, and we didn't have the ability to fluctuate because of the fact that we didn't have the budget. If we were to break it down, the more you break it down, the less you spend on each campaign, the less results you should expect. And the more you spend, the more you'll actually be able to collect about that campaign as far as data is concerned, and then use that data to better your campaigns later on. Okay, let me get up. I think we had some questions in here. What is your recommended way to practice Facebook ads? The only way that you can do it without doing it for a client would be to start your own drop shipping store. And that's when I first started getting back into, running an agency and managing my own clients and things like that. I started basically practicing again on Shopify stores. So I took my own money, bought some products on AliExpress, and I didn't even buy. Well, I bought some to test them out, right, to make sure I liked them. Because if I didn't like them, why would someone else like them? And so I bought some products to test the quality and the structure of them. And then I found some I liked, and then I started selling them. And I started really just selling men's socks, and it was going well. We were making some sales, and I was practicing my ad campaigns at the same time. So that way, when I did get to the point where I wanted to take on clients heavily, I knew what I was doing and how to manage it again. Because after a year and a half of not managing it, or 2 years of not managing, was it 2 years? Yeah, it was about 2 years of not managing them every day. And not to mention all of the changes that happened in 2 years. It was amazing to get back into Facebook after 2 years of not using it daily. Oh boy, it was completely different. And even now, compared to 2 years ago, in 2017, when I started Serial Entrepreneur, it was completely different then. They've added so many different features now that make it such a better platform than what it was. It's amazing. You guys are so lucky. We used to have to manually upload every single thing and then create a new ad and manually upload every single different variation. Oh man, it was a pain in the ass, I'll tell you that. If you're running 4 different variations of a single ad, it would take you 2.5 hours to get everything uploaded. And especially because of how slow Facebook's ad server used to work. Oh my God. But that would be my recommended way. After someone wants your service, I need to show a presentation or proposal. It's the same. What? After someone wants your service, I need to show a presentation or proposal. Oh, okay. Now I see what you're saying. Is it the same? Okay. Yes. So the proposal and the presentation are the same thing. A presentation is just you presenting something. So it's a presentation. The proposal is what you're presenting. But it's basically, it's They're not the same thing, but they kind of are. So the proposal is what you are presenting to the client. And yeah. Sorry, I hope that helps. I am very interested in starting a digital marketing agency. I, however, do not live in a first world country with many big corporate companies. Is it possible to run my company from Cambodia with companies in the US and UK? Milan. So the strategy that I recommend to people in your situation are to get onto freelancer platforms and start your agency there. What you need to do then is start taking on clients in a specific task. So say you get good at doing social media ads. Great. Start running social media ads. Then what you can do from there is expand and find other freelancers on that platform that you essentially hire. Or maybe you find someone in Cambodia and you open up an office in Cambodia, and then you start teaching those people, or they already have those skills and expertise. Then you bring them in and you start giving them work for that same thing. Then you start to, add on different skills or not skills, but different services. I couldn't think of the word. Different services that your agency offers. You start to break out from just social media ads, right? Once you do that, then you start to scale even more, get more clients on Upwork. The cool thing is Upwork is essentially a marketing platform. That's pretty much all it is. It's a platform that connects people who have a need with people who provide that solution, right? So it is the middleman between those two people. But people are going to this platform specifically to look for people in those job markets because they need that work done. It's a great way for you to get your agency started, and at the same time you're able to collect reviews, meet people in the US, and then once you get an agency large enough, you can go after those, few corporate companies that are in your country and say, hey, look at what I've done for all of these companies via Upwork. This is what I can do for you guys. And then that's when you're presenting to big time companies in your area. That's what I would recommend for anybody who doesn't live in an area that you would consider first world or something like that. Is there even a second world? Like, I know there's third world and first world, but is there a second world, like second world countries? I don't know. You guys tell me, because I honestly do not know. I've always heard of first world and third world. I've never heard a country called second world before. But that's what I would recommend. If you live in what you would consider a third world country, then the biggest challenge you're going to have to overcome is your English. And that's one thing that I would say, if you don't have a strong command of the English language, you need to find someone who maybe does and have them do communication for you or something like that. Pay them to do the communication. But one of the biggest struggles that US or UK or anybody who is English first speaking, like that is the primary language spoken in that country, it becomes difficult for them to work with someone who doesn't speak English first, just because it takes longer to communicate things. Even when you communicate things, sometimes still get lost in translation. So it just adds to the headache of the work. So, if you're going to work in the US, you are going to have to be able to speak English well. Hello, everyone. My name is Simon. Simon, what up, bro? Coming in super late, talking about what up. I'm Simon. And then his name says it right there, Simon Haley. That's funny. You're cracking me up, dude. Got kind of a noob question. So if I have a client and am working on getting them to the top of Google or top three, okay, how do I go to a different client in the same niche and offer to do the same? So Devin, that's why I don't recommend, like a lot of SEO agencies, they're not going to work with they won't work with more than one type of business in a specific region or area. So they'll take 15 zip codes in a surrounding area, and they'll only do one business in that area because that's where their customer base will reach to, right? And then they'll find an area that's outside of that radius and they'll pick up a client from there. Usually though, you won't want to take a burger restaurant and a burger restaurant and try to get them to both rank, because you're competing against yourself, which also doesn't look good if the other business finds out that you're doing that, because that's exactly what they're going to think. They're going to be like, wait, well, if they're spending with you and we're spending with you, then how are you going to choose who ranks first or not, right? That's what they're going to be thinking. And the funny thing is, you don't even choose that. Google does. But one business is going to rank higher than the other. It just has to happen, right? So you wouldn't actually want to do that. You would want to set up boundaries, basically, that you don't pick another client within that boundary. What kind of strategies will you put in place for the new Google privacy regulation? Like, how will your retarget and SEO look? New Google privacy regulation. Kewen, can you be more specific? They come up with all kinds of regulations all the time. I can't keep up with all of the news out there in one time, so I don't always hear about everything. But just be more specific about what privacy regulation you're talking about. I might have heard of it. What about companies that don't sell online? Do you have any recommendations? Martin, the biggest thing is you're trying to drive foot traffic. So look up something called offline conversions. Go to Google. Trust me on this. Go to Google. Type in the words Facebook offline conversion and try to find the article by Google or by Facebook. Like, you'll see that. Make sure to look in the URLs for each one of the search results and make sure it says facebook.com or business.facebook.resources. It's something like that. I can't remember the exact URL, but go to the one from Facebook, and it has all kinds of documentation on offline tracking. That's what you're going to want to look at for businesses who don't sell online, because you're trying to drive foot traffic. So your goal is to literally, and not necessarily foot traffic. Okay, so if you might be talking about like a doctor or a chiropractor, because they don't really sell online, but they do sell online. They set appointments online, right? That's selling online. So they might not sell a product that is an e-commerce product online, but they're selling their service just as much online as they are in their office. In which case, you're trying to drive leads or appointments or calls to the office location. If they don't have a brick and mortar location where they're trying to drive in foot traffic, like for example a restaurant, that's heavy. You're trying to drive foot traffic. That's all that restaurant cares about, bringing people in those doors. But if it's someone like an attorney or a doctor, something like that, you're trying to drive appointments, because that's what they're trying to get. They want appointments, so because they're the one who sells them after you get them in the door. So, the recommendation is drive your campaigns around driving people in those doors or to set appointments. Your content needs to be driven around getting them to set an appointment or visit that location. I am finding my best leads are coming from networking meetings. I don't know how many times I've said that, but I'm glad you are. I wish other people would listen to me and stop being recluses, because that's the issue. The issue is most people don't want to get out there and do the work in person, or they're too scared to meet people and talk to people. You got to get over that, dude. If you're going to be a business owner, you can't be afraid of anything if you want to be a business owner and kill it. That's the first thing you got to understand. If you want to be a successful CEO, you can't be afraid of shit, because CEOs and high-level CEOs go through so much more awkward, intense, just outstandingly weird and uncomfortable events in their lifetime, because you have to, there's things like letting go of employees. That's way more uncomfortable than going, unless you just really hate that person. But outside of that, letting go of an employee is not something that is fun to do. You don't want to have to do it, right? And it's much more scary to me than it is going out and talking to a business owner and saying, hey, I'm pretty good at marketing. We should talk, because, like I said, I'm just the tits. So, I don't know, guys. There are other things to be scared of. Anyways, Juliana, let's get back to your point. Or maybe Robert. I don't know. You still haven't told me who this is talking. But with people, I just bought a gimbal for my Samsung S10 and getting a lot of leads by saying I'm offering high-def videos. That's pretty cool. And that would be a great way to do it, man. Say something like, yeah, with our next 5 clients who sign up, and don't say our next 5 clients who spend a minimum of $1,500. That's not what you're saying. You're trying to get them to be interested and set a meeting with you, right? Our next 5 clients who sign up, we're going to shoot a promo video for them absolutely free, and it's going to be a brand story video pretty much. And you can tell them that and do that for them as long as they spend that $1,500. You got to make sure they spend that $1,500 and that you have the ability and the equipment to shoot that video and produce that video. Really, all you need is a camera, and you need to know how to work the camera. It's not as easy as just taking some footage. I'm not knocking you, just letting you know, because I found this out the hard way, but shooting video is a lot harder than you might think. But yeah, that's a great way to drive leads. Do you think that is a big opportunity that I should focus on? No one in my area is doing these kinds of cinematic videos in any niches. Well, then I don't even know why you're asking that question. Of course that's valuable. If no one else is doing it, then, and you know that video is super important to any business, then heck yeah, go. Stop talking to me about it and do it. Keep doing it. It sounds like you've been doing it. So I'm glad it works for you. This is a lesson for everybody else. If y'all want to actually get some leads, maybe y'all should try that in your area. Go get a gimbal and start taking some video of people. I think I skipped another one from Martin. Like restaurants, which you are super familiar with. Oh, well, okay, I did answer that question. Cool. Hassan says, clients are messaging on WhatsApp and they have multiple employees sending 2 a.m., 9 p.m., 1 p.m. messages. What's the best way to communicate with clients? Accept calls or emails if possible. Clients are messaging on WhatsApp and they have multiple employees sending 2 a.m., 9 p.m., and 1 p.m. messages. What's the best way to communicate with clients? Accept calls or emails if possible. Here's the thing, Hassan. I don't know where you live. I'll put it to you, and again, I'm speculating here, but if you live, say, not in the U.S., and the only reason I'm saying that is because you said clients are messaging you on WhatsApp, and really, the only people that I've found really use WhatsApp are people in, like, the United Arab Emirates, India, a lot of, like, the Middle Eastern area uses WhatsApp. But if you are in that area, and say your clients are in the U.S., well, yeah, your time zones are completely different, and so you have to be able to cater to your customers in that instance. Like, you can't work in India, for example. I'm not saying you're Indian, but I'm just giving you an example. You can't work in India and have a client in the US but never be reachable. Especially when, dude, I've worked with clients who said, yeah, I work between here and here, and then they're never on between that time. And I'm like, okay, well, you're fired because I needed someone I can communicate with. Outside of that, communication is really done through email, phone calls, video calls, voice calls, or messenger. That's the only way to communicate. So you're kind of limiting yourself by saying no calls and emails. That takes away 2 really good forms of communication. WhatsApp Messenger isn't the greatest way to communicate to people. It's a phone messenger app. It's not like an email. I can sit here on my keyboard and long type all of this stuff out and make it look good and add attachments easily, and it kind of segments different conversations together perfectly, right? I don't know. It sounds to me like you're not being flexible enough for your clients, if you want my honest opinion. For your information, second world countries are communist countries. Good to know. My lesson for the day. Thank you, Ruth. That actually kind of makes sense. But kind of not at the same time. Okay, anyways, I hope that's true. Not hope. If that is true, thank you. That's what I will say. English is my first language. I am a South African citizen. I work here as a foreign teacher. Then Milan. Dude, you're Gucci. I don't know what you're waiting for. You need to get after it. That's what you need to do. Do you have any videos on SOPs, operational workflows, how you'll handle new customers when you sign them up? I know what SOP is, standard operating procedure. What do you mean on YouTube? I don't think we have too many of them yet, though we have thought about putting them in there in the future. The issue is most people, we have to run our YouTube channel based on what people search for, just because that's just how YouTube kind of works. And operational procedures are a thing that people really don't look enough into. I'll be honest myself, it wasn't something I put a lot of attention into up front, but now we have over 500 hours in development in operational workflows and procedures. And probably more than that, really. I'm honestly not sure because we don't have an exact count, but we have a lot of time put into operational workflows over the last 6 to 8 months. Don't know if we have any content about it, but we might do some in the future. Can you give us tips and ways to learn how to advertise a specific niche if chose a niche? I can't give you... Okay. The tips are going to be hard to tell you about because each niche is different. So I guess that's a tip. Each niche is different, so I can't give you specific things other than the fact that when you're running an ad campaign, you have 3 stages. I really wish that more people, and see, this is why I hate people like Ty Lopez, and because they don't teach the right stuff. You should be looking more at things like the sales cycle or the sales funnel. That is really what's going to help you determine what ads to put where. So your awareness stage, which we talked about earlier on the whiteboard, if you didn't see it, make sure to watch the replay after this and go to the very beginning of the conversation after we got through like the talking part. You'll see me get to a whiteboard. Watch that part. But you have awareness, consideration, and conversion. Your consideration and conversion stages are pretty much always the same. It, might adjust a little bit, but it's not really going to change too much. And all those stages are meant to do is build trust, right? Make the person like you even more, add more value, and give them more reasons why your product is better than every other product, or why your product or service is better than every other product or service out there. That's your main priority with those 2 stages of the sales cycle or the sales funnel. So what you need to understand is once you get those ads in place, you don't have to adjust them very much. You're really just trying to figure out what types of ads work at that level. So a testimonial ad, what type of testimonials or customer feedback type ads should we be showing in an attorney niche versus a restaurant niche, right? There's different ways to portray that. An attorney, you might want that family on there who, almost went bankrupt, but then their bankruptcy attorney came through and saved the day, and it changed their whole outlook on life and their financial future, right? And having them explain that story. Whereas a restaurant, you don't necessarily need a family on there talking about how how emotional it was for them, because that's not really it. What you do want though is, maybe a bunch of clips of saying how tasty it was, how delicious it was, or a food critic, that gave their feedback that's really popular. Like if Guy Fieri, whatever his name is, came to your restaurant and ate there, that's something to show to people, right? So understanding that part about it, and then understanding how to deliver those messages at each part of the sales funnel is really more important. So when you look at each niche, determine how you're going to deliver those messages. From there, once you reach when you look at the awareness stage, you're just looking at the ways to grab attention and to make sure that attention follows through to visit your site, and that it's valuable and engaging enough for them to actually give you their time. Especially on social media, you have to understand that's a disruptive style of marketing. So with a disruptive style of marketing, you are taking up their time and you're intruding on their time with something that they didn't even intend to come there with to begin with. They didn't come to Facebook to look at your ad. They came there to find out what events are going on or what their friends are doing, blah, blah, that kind of stuff. You just so happen to come across their news feed. I worked at a digital agency here in Costa Rica. It was everything but standardized. Martin, what do you mean by that? Holy crap. Show, yeah, Facebook.com. Yeah, this page right here. Let me see if I can pull it up. I can show you guys too. Yeah, I'm going to show you guys this really quick. So this right here, you guys, if you haven't been here, the Business Help Center, like there are so many things in here on ads. It'll talk about audiences. We can go over here and check out, all kinds of stuff on audiences. It'll get very specific. If you want to learn more about custom audiences, it's going to show you here. All of these are articles about custom audiences, about the Facebook pixel, right? If you have no clue what the Facebook pixel is, this is going to go through everything about the Facebook pixel. Create and install the pixel, about Facebook pixel standard and custom events. Like Facebook has pretty much everything that you'd ever want to learn about. What they don't have is the experience not the experience. They have the experience, but they're not like a person sitting here telling you this was our experience. So it's a little bit different of a learning experience. This is like going through a book in school and learning the technical way or the technicalities of Facebook marketing that way versus going through a program at a college campus, right? And sitting there with a professor giving you notes. It's kind of like the difference between me teaching you and Facebook teaching you, but both are great ways to learn. Trust me, I go through this on a regular basis now to look at new content that they put out, new training material. They even have a Facebook ads course or a Facebook marketing course. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's just like Facebook Academy or something like that. I don't know what it is, but you guys can find it if you go like Facebook course and then make sure you find the Facebook URL. Where are we at? There we are. Okay. Back to this guy. Oh, we got 5 minutes left. So let me make sure we don't have anything super important here. From Augusta. What's up, Freemouth? I don't have time to go through your question. I'm sorry, because we're actually about to wrap up and I didn't get to it. That's why I always mention to people, and I had somebody come in here and try to talk shit the other day about it, but if you want to make sure that I guaranteed answer your question before I hop off, all you have to do is do a super chat, because otherwise, like for right now, in this example, I would have to go over an hour, meaning I would be spending more time, which is okay. But usually I only block out certain amount of time so that way I have time to do other things in my life, because obviously I can't spend all the time in the world doing this. But if you were to, for example, and I'm just saying this, but if you were to, for example, super chat $1, that's all I ask is $1, is the minimum amount. That's how I guarantee I will answer your question. And that shows you that I'm nice, because $1 to spend an extra 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, if you really look at how much would you like to make, what is that? If I did 10 minutes, would you like to make $6 an hour? Probably not. But I'm not mad at you. I'm just letting you know. Anyways, if you guys want to play the mentorship program giveaway game, I need you to do me 2 things. Number 1, hit that thumbs up button. It'll be right below this video. All you have to do, if you're watching it on full screen on your phone, you actually have to turn it up vertical, get the video to go to where it's only on the top portion of the screen. And then there's a thumbs up button. You just click it right down there. After you click that thumbs up button, then I need you to leave a comment just saying, yes, you are ready, or you are not ready. Yes, I want to play. That'll work. Yes, I want to play. Once I see you guys say that you're ready to play, then we will go ahead and get started. Super Chat isn't available in my region. In South Africa? They don't allow Super Chat in South Africa? Right, but I thought you said you were in South Africa. Or are you not there anymore? Once I see about, we'll say at least 12 people have to say, yes, I want to play in the comments before we'll actually get this mofo started. But once I see 12 different people, because if you write the same thing, that's not 12 different people. Ezekiel fucking ready to play. Someone's ready to go. Because I think I have a good question tonight too. Alright, looks like we've got almost 12. I think that's good enough for me. So, the question for tonight is, What is the minimum dollar amount for ad budgets that I recommend? The absolute minimum that you should have them spend. And this is not with the ad fee included. This is just the ad budget. What is the minimum that they should spend, a business should spend in a month period? Boy, some of y'all were not paying attention. I just want to see everybody's answers before I say there's a winner. Martin, that's actually a good answer, but that's not the right answer. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give two winners away tonight. Nuyo Rican and Milan Grobler. Nuyo and Milan, y'all two win tonight. Because the minimum that I said you should do is $750. But that's if a like they better have their Facebook page on point. It better have a decent, and it doesn't have to have the best, but at least some engagement on their page. It needs to look good, and $750 could get away with that page working. $1,000 is really the absolute minimum that I'm going to recommend, though. For 90% of businesses, $1,000 should be the minimum that they spend per month. And the reason why is it gives you the ability to be flexible with your budget. So, Nuyo and Milan, both of y'all are winners tonight. I'm just the greatest because I gave away 2 mentorship programs. So, you guys make sure that you mention or make sure to send a message to my business Facebook page at facebook.com/serialentrepreneur, and we will get your mentorship code over to you. Make sure that you mention to them that I said to give away 2, and you can tell them that, because my admin's gonna, or one of my community managers is gonna have that. I never win. Thank you. Great video. Juliana, just keep sticking around. Some of these people, dude, I've had some people who've played this game for like 5 months before they actually won. But they won. I'm telling you, you get on one of these, eventually, occasionally we'll have some where we have like not that many people on it just because like it's a random week or there's like a holiday or something and we won't have a ton of people on it. But you get on one of those, dude, we've given away like 3 before just because those 3 people showed up. But this was a long time ago. This is when our lives were, we hardly even hosted lives because we didn't have a large enough audience yet. But anyways, you two make sure to send me a message. This was nice. I was never online on one of these before. Thanks for all the information, man. You're welcome, Martin. Trust me, you should get in the course. It's even better. And the 2.0 is coming very, very soon. It's coming next month, which is amazing. So, and it's only $10 per month. It's so affordable. Exactly, Martin. It's $10 per month. And you get 2 hours of my time every single month. So 4 trainings a month. Sometimes 5 if we have a 5-week month where Wednesday, again, falls in that month. So, I'm telling you guys, you really can't beat it. Go check it out, serialentrepreneur.academy. I'm going to get out of here, guys. You guys have a great rest of your week and a good weekend, and I will see you guys next Thursday. Until then, Serial Entrepreneur out. Bye, guys.